New shit. My first night in South Africa. After crossing waters where my kin still stand, unable to find eternal rest on ocean beds, I find myself floating in a sea of black faces from every current that licks the coast of this continent. I am lost at sea. I am emergent in every face my eyes behold between blinks. I hear myself in every turn of the tongue, regardless of the language that confines it. I have floated so far from the shores of reality when my suitcase, it grazes lightly like a full gazelle against another woman's bag. I return from the paradise my mind has vacationed my sense of space to. I begin to unpluck an apology like sweet fruit from beneath my tongue when this white woman in South Africa raises her voice to me like I am a child whose careless hands have come too close to spilling the rainbow stew in this nation's melting pot. She screams at me, "Go around." Her entitlement, filling the deep valleys that disbelief has caused on her face. In that moment, I am sure that she has packed all of the white man's burdens in her suitcases. That she speaks and her every word becomes shovel to unearth the ghosts of apartheid. We are toe to toe in this haunted hallway as she continues, "You need to go around. This land is occupied." She says this, and she traces her finger through the air as if the act of drawing borders is her inheritance. It is not lost on me that I am here for a summit to break down borders, and this relic, she reminds me of how many borders exist beyond the maps that they've drawn on our lands, how to them, our very beings are borders able to be crossed with no consequence. This woman, she is the prodigal daughter of colonization. She has returned to her father's gluttonous feast on our land. I wonder if her ancestors told her to speak down to me like mine compelled me to stand up to her. This land, she says, is occupied. As if I did not already know this. As if I too do not come from a place where whites have taken to the point that they and even we believe it is theirs to hold in their soft hands that have never worked this land, only overseen our bent and broken bodies. I open my mouth and decades of displacement, they fill this hotel lobby. The bellboy, his mouth, it falls agape at my audacity. My spirit, it shatters at his silence. And this woman, she tells me that this land is occupied. As she says this, my brother's eyes, they beg me to wear my quiet like a coat in this South African winter, and I consider his request in my mind. But my body, this body, it remembers, and it refuses to go back to a silence that colonization once forced down my grandmother's throat. The same silence that too many of our children hold in to learn to swallow like saliva. From the corner of my eye, I see my South African sister shift. I realize that her body, it remembers too. I watch her mouth transform from a body part to a blessing and tell this woman so simply, "Shut up. Who are you?" To me, she says, "Let's go one day. This is not worth our time." We disengage from that which means to only take and take. Her body, it remembers that it belongs here, that it was birthed here, that it was not imported by false burdens and promises. She reclaims this occupied lands and makes us way for both of us to pass. And later, she whispers to me how maybe the sons and daughters should be made to pay the price that their fathers put on our heads, that maybe they'd understand that this land was never theirs to begin with. I respond with a throat full of thanks. I tell her that I almost took this woman's bag and I threw them across the hotel lobby. How I imagined her clothes, they became a flock full of birds taking flight in that lobby, and we picture this scene of paradise in our minds. Our mouths, they burst open like ripe coconuts knocked down in the winds of change. See, we are a lineage of laughter and survival. We be the recognition that sometimes they are both in the same, and sometimes our joy is our being, and our being, it is a reminder that we are still here, that sometimes being here is enough of an act of resistance, enough of a reminder that though the project of colonization is ongoing, it is an ongoing failure. Let our every breath be a reminder that we are still here. We are still here, that we have always been here, and we will always be here.